Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing! Case File 111! Stargates! I'm Braden.
I'm Zell.
I'm Dan.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Byron.
Oh, Byron got blocked out by the fucking thing.
Ah.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Byron's back. That's what happens when you're trying to add a character last minute to the live stream.
Hey, look at those five guys.
Now
we're five Gs.
The five. Oh shit! We're the
Five guys, burger, some fries.
5Gs.
So today we're gonna talk a 3-hour review on an hour-and-a-half movie, Stargate.
Yeah.
Starring Kurt Russell.
3.5 hours.
At least 3.5.
I love how we were just gonna talk about the Iraqi Stargate, and then up until I researched that one real quick because there's not a lot on it, and then 4 hours ago you guys were like, let's do all Stargates.
Let's just do the Stargates, baby.
Oh, perfect. This is going to work great.
Stargate, the 1994 Roland Emmerich masterpiece.
Yeah. So, because we're doing Stargates, we had to have
Expert.
the world's leading expert of Stargates on the podcast. So, Byron, take it away.
Thanks, guys. So, saw the show a couple of times, and yeah, pretty good. I reckon they're cool.
Pretty good. Pretty good all the way through. Pretty cool.
Stargate.
I'm
5
out.
stars.
Done.
You heard it. Case closed, everybody. Good job.
Yep.
Okay, so what are Stargates? Dan, what's Stargates to you?
Damn good movie.
A great movie.
Good TV
starring
show.
Kurt Russell, always great. James Spader with his amazing hair. Anyways, but beyond that, Stargates are kind of based off of what I understand to be the work of Zecharia Sitchin, who's kind of you could say the godfather or the father of kind of the ancient alien theories, because kind of Eric von Daniken and people like David Childress, they all base their work pretty much off of that, his kind of things at the base of the belief that ancient extraterrestrials came to humans and kind of were the starters of our culture. I mean, Zecharia Sitchin definitely based his work on his personal translations of Sumerian texts back in the day when he did it in 1960s and 1950s, 60s. And so in his work, he interpreted some of the wordings of the Sumerian text to understand as these things that they mentioned kind of like stargates, or people believe to be these doorways which would allow extraterrestrials to travel between points in space almost instantaneously. So in his works, he mentions the Annunaki, who were kind of offsprings of Anu, or kind of workers of Enki and Enlil, which were Sumerian deities mentioned in their texts and tied to their astrology and histories and mythologies. And the Anunnaki were, in his works, he posited them to be both, you'd have kind of different echelons of Anunnaki. So you'd have ones who worked on the planet who were perhaps like overseers or kind of stewards. And then you also have ones that worked on like an orbital or space-based Anunnaki. But then you had an even higher echelon than that who would be permitted to use these stargates in order to move perhaps between their planets. And Zecharia Sitchin's work is where we also get the idea of having that 10th planet, that Nibiru or Planet X.
That's cool. You know what? They always talk about Nibiru, but then if you throw in Stargates, I mean, they always say Nibiru is coming back to Earth to cause destruction. But Nibiru could be anywhere with Stargates. I think
he believed that in his text, when he translated it, it would be, there was a time frame somewhere like the orbit of Nibiru would come close to Earth every about 3,600 years.
I think that sounds right. That sounds right. So is that coming? I heard Nibiru was coming. We did Annunaki when we first started, and Nibiru was coming then.
Still, it's only been 4 years. We got another 1,000 to go.
At least 1,000. Hey, I love the theory of ancient alien astronauts coming to Earth to instill civilization. It's cool.
Man, it's a very cool idea too, especially when what are some of the sites? Because a lot of I was researching the Iraqi one. But what are some of the main sites that people think might be Stargates?
Stonehenge is obviously a big one.
Stonehenge is definitely in there, as they claim it could be a Stargate. Something to do with the type of rocks and the way it is. A lost technology was used to link points in space-time, and that is one of them.
Dude, what about the pyramids? People believe the pyramids?
Not necessarily. I don't think the pyramids itself, but here I got a list here.
Wasn't there one called the Crow's Nest down that way, like in Egypt, but not actually the pyramids themselves, but in the area?
Well, there's a couple there.
There's one that they said was in the ziggurat in Mesopotamia, which is now present day Iraq.
Okay, let's start with that one, because that's the one that they claim. Let's start with this. Let's go a little bit on it. That's the one they claim that has been in the modern times. People have gone to war over the Stargate based in Iraq. It started in World War II. It was the British versus the Nazis for that area, and then more recently the United States went there in the first Desert Storm War, Middle Eastern War, and now they've been there since 2003 in Iraq till when did that mission end in Iraq?
Which one? The second Iraq War?
Yeah, 2003 till 2012 or something. 13. Yeah, whatever it was. So the theory is that weapons of mass destruction wasn't necessarily a nuclear bomb or chemical weapons. It was this
2011. It
was the Stargate that would unlock the power of the universe, and whoever held that is pretty much the master of the planet. So that is one of the theories that the United States. One of their things was Saddam Hussein was rebuilding the ziggurat, and he had reactivated, or he'd figure out the secrets of the Stargate. And then Bush and company said, came in there, wiped him out, took over the Stargate.
Glass the entire desert.
Yeah.
Wait, that one. Okay, that one I read that one too, where it was where it talked about they fought for that area before, and it went into talking about the Glocka and stuff, and that's a piece of it. And then how the weapons of mass destruction, there were no weapons of mass destruction, so why were they going in? The problem I had with that one is I was like, well, it's oil. that's why they went. It's oil. That's the reason. I a Stargate there. I'm it's an interesting. I love the idea when I'm reading it, but I'm that theory of them fighting over that. I'm to me it makes more sense for oil. That was
maybe they wanted.
Or is oil
maybe they
decoy?
wanted space oil.
Space oil.
Maybe.
That makes sense. Checks out.
True. But I know they have ancient texts and stuff there, but it's so hard for me because there's so many areas in the Middle East there that you just don't hear a lot about, and a lot of information comes out of especially their ancient civilizations in those areas, just because they're so war torn.
Well, Iraq
it's hard to think of another place that has as much conflict as the Middle East, and perhaps you could. I mean, there is an area of study like exopolitics, which kind of bases most of their philosophies and kind of their discoveries around the idea that there was ancient alien cultures, which were, most of them post them which was the cradle of civilization, the Middle East. You had places like the Sumerians, who were one of the earliest known human cultures on the planet that we know of. And you could go ahead and say that their city of Ur or Uruk-hai is where they put one of the main Stargate. That's where Zecharia Sitchin kind of presents some evidence to kind of support the idea that the main Stargate was here. Now, if you want to say that there's perhaps a network of Stargates that not only connect them to, like Stargate SG-1, for lack of a better, example, like that not only link to other planets or other galaxies or things like that, or different star systems. You'd also say that there is you could kind of draw the connection where you'd be like, oh, there's a lot of theories that there is some sort of like interconnected back when, human civilization was at some sort of peak during their interactions with the extraterrestrial civilizations. They had some kind of global spanning web of energy. And this energy is what they use because you need a power source to somehow work these things. So I would assume that you would use this kind of either ley lines or you'd use their kind of global web of energy to power these things. It would not only allow for, because if you're an advanced alien civilization, you wouldn't want to take a rocket to, from place to place. You would rather take these Stargates, right? It'd be a lot
you'd rather
easier.
walk through a door.
Yeah, it uses a lot, uses a lot less, I can assume resources or whatever they want to do, and it'd be easier way to move from place to place. So you could say that many of these Stargates, perhaps they were interconnected, and it was just an easier way to move around the planet to these advanced civilizations that seem to have, some of them you could say that's why some of these structures, like the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, are so similar to, Mayan step pyramids, for example.
So you're thinking
that would make sense. I like that, where it's like these places of power where these weird ancient civilizations and these ruins that we have no idea that are made with such precision were tied to some sort of doorway or something. And okay, we've been to Chicken Pizza, and like I'm thinking about it now, like where those one stairs come down. We always thought we're like, look at that looks just like a landing pad over to the left there. Yeah, where you could land and then walk right up to the pyramid. I'm like, who's to say there wasn't something there that was just a fucking door? That was the doorstep to whatever this fucking device was.
Oh shit!
Right? I was always thinking that there had to be something that landed around here, but I'm like, right? If we're talking Stargates that are interconnected in all these places of powers, 100% you could easily sway me to believe that just as much.
Well, that's a little bit different because those are platforms. There's no actual like gate cut into rock or anything.
Well, I'm saying whatever's there and whatever held the power and stuff.
So instead of being
how many gates do they think they are?
There is no number. There's this. There's a lot of sacred places that have weird etching into stone that people say this could have been and there's like
13. It was in the movie.
Okay, so
I never saw.
Instead of intergalactic stargates, do you think the planet could be more planetary stargates? That theory.
I'm not saying that they're not intergalactic, but here's my thing. Dan's right. You're lazy, right? So it's like, okay, I'm gonna build one on Earth, and then I'm gonna be like, well, I want to go way over there. What are you gonna do? Walk? I don't think so. You're gonna be like, let's plop another gate down.
Oh, so you're teleporting from wherever into like, okay, I'm going to Giza.
Mini gates.
I'm going to Giza. I'm going to Chicken Pizza. I'm going to Peru. I'm going anywhere. There's all these.
Yeah. All these places of power.
I like that. So that's more of like on the Graham Hancock theory of one ancient advanced civilization.
So now have these gates been closed? Like, did Saddam supposedly have the ability to use this gate? Is that what they're saying? Or like
they think that the theory is that he either learned how it works or actually reactivated the gate, and that was the final straw for them to go like, oh, you can't use this as ultimate power.
Yeah, some people draw evidence or conclusions, or they point to a 2002 excavation by a German archaeology team, which in southern Iraq or in Iraq, that area, and they had started to excavate these Sumerian sites. And this was 2003 is when the Iraq War started, so tensions were still pretty high at that point. So why would you allow, the people ask the question, why would you allow a German archaeological team to come in and start digging up these things unless there was something important that you needed to possess, right? And then why would Germany and France, people say, were some of the most vocal people for the against the second Iraq War, for the United States to go in and bomb Iraq, basically glass Iraq,
right?
Basically. So some people use that as the point to the evidence that Saddam was looking for these things, and Saddam was also big on the idea of rebuilding Iraq, like rebuilding the culture, investing money into restorations and things like that. So maybe he was, you could link into the kind of things like the Nazis were doing, where getting really big into archaeology and trying to find all these sacred objects and things like gathering like that would bring them power or victory or something like that. And so perhaps he did find something. That's what some people theorize, is that he either found evidence of a Stargate, right? But or people go beyond that, and he found how to activate or communicate with something on the other side of the Stargate.
He found the seventh symbol. Found the seventh symbol, Dan.
Right? He found the seventh symbol. He found the origin point.
Origin point.
That had.
So they're saying, like, after World War One, you know what I mean? Like when they split the Middle East up in like the Sykes-Picot Agreement, the British took Iraq because they wanted the Stargate.
Could be.
And if, like, what doesn't make sense to me is if they wanted Iraq because of the Stargate, you think they would have never let that area go. You know what I mean? Like they would have.
Here's the thing. I think these places there's places of power, and I think so. Let's just for this argument's sake, Stargates are real. They were real. If there was a Stargate and however it was powered is gone, it's been destroyed, it was taken down, or pieces removed from it, whatever gave it power. Oh, got my brain going here now.
There you go. There you
so,
go.
We were talking about Graham Hancock's.
Hancock.
So what about this? So if something brought us the first Stargate, it would, I'm guessing, it would have to travel here to get to put the portal on one
set
end.
It up, yeah.
Yep.
Right. So what if these portals were working with us, building these pyramids and stuff, and then we just were like, fuck these Stargates, and we just fucking pushed them over. Now the portal's open. They've long gone. They've taken their ship somewhere else. So if they ever wanted to come back, it's a long return journey.
So one of the theories I think Zecharia Sitchin puts forth in his book is that the Anunnaki, when they left, they were either forced to leave or perhaps they left only because they wanted gold. I think that's one of the theories, is that they were just using us as like kind of, we were the worker species.
Yeah, we were
humans.
slaves, 100%.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the theory that humans, started a rebellion against this hyper advanced alien race, which doesn't really make any sense, but it's hard. But if you accept the premise that we somehow staged a successful rebellion, how would you take down one of these things? How would you take it down? Now, one of the theories that I came to while watching Roland Emmerich's masterpiece 1994 movie Stargate. Amazing. James Spader's hair.
It's still
5 stars.
Dude, it
just
still
movie,
holds up.
James Spader's hair.
It still holds up.
Just for James Spader's hair. What I said was that the movie, it got my theory juices flowing, but the movie opens up in North Africa in 8000 BC.
Boom.
What else do we have in Northern Africa?
The Sahara Desert.
You have the Sahara Desert. And
yeah.
what's in the middle of the Sahara Desert?
The
Eye of the Sahara.
Eye of the Sahara.
You mean Atlantis?
Could have been.
Well, I mean, according to Aquaman, it's Atlantis. But Aquaman came out after Stargate. So
Touché.
Stargate first. And then, so perhaps the Eye of the Sahara is a site of because you would need massive amounts of energy to somehow power these things, I would assume.
And
so if you were to
that was the main one.
Yeah. So I'm saying
original.
that if you had this main Stargate, that there was somehow human rebellion, either the humans found a way to, because I mean, I assume like I don't think the humans would actually be able to destroy it, but maybe the Anunnaki just detonated it.
That's enough.
We're just like, we're out of here. Like perhaps they were done, or like, we're done. Press the button.
Hey.
Now you have this huge crater in the middle of the Sahara Desert that some people say no one's really sure of why it's there, and perhaps it was.
See, the only issue I have with this whole thing, this whole time Dan's been talking, is the lack of respect fucking SG-1's getting here. This is ridiculous. It had fucking MacGyver in it.
SG-1
Dean Anderson.
Knockoff Star Trek.
Oh, man.
Everybody knows it. And Richard Dean Anderson, every time he was on that show, looked like he would rather be anywhere else than on that TV show.
Wow. MacGyver wasn't playing anymore. He had to do something.
MacGyver's great. I was pretty sure it's in syndication. It's a great show.
Well, it's an Unreal show.
Rolling through those.
I like the new one. I like it.
It's interesting. Where are some other areas, Zell, where people think?
Okay, before I take you to other areas.
Yeah.
So scientifically, what is the only
You're
thing?
asking the wrong group of guys.
Next, no. What is the only thing like theoretically proposed that can attach 2 points of space-time?
Wormhole.
A wormhole. What they call an Einstein.
Rosenberg.
Einstein-Rosen bridge, right? So what if? So pretty much what that is pretty much just an instantaneous point, like an avenue through space, like a shortcut through space, right? Theoretically proposed. So pretty much they say like a black hole is the in point, and they sometimes call it like the white hole is the exit, right? Like,
yeah.
Dan, goddamn with the exit, the white hole. So maybe I think that's the main theory is these stargates are actually, if we're going to try and think about them in like modern scientific terms, it's some type of, they've figured out wormhole technology. If
the white hole is the in hole and the black hole is
opposite. Black hole is
the in hole and the white hole is the out hole. So what if you go in the out hole?
You can't go in the out hole because it takes an impossible,
I don't know.
infinite
There are a lot
amount.
of people that would say you could go in the out hole.
Oh, what a setup! Well done, well done, Dan. Nice setup.
I see what you did there. Took the long route around.
Slow build.
I like it. You could have just said the brown hole. We would have got you the same thing. I like your version better.
Yeah.
Draw it out.
The long, drawn-out version.
But there's a difference again, though, between Stargates and portals, is there not? Like, Stargates is the, like, I guess, the physical made one, where a portal is, like, a natural.
Well, I think Einstein, when he talked about these, he didn't talk about, like, us building one. It was just they would exist theoretically in the universe. But I don't know exactly what is like, just like a random point maybe that's just a random point in space. And once you find them, the Stargate is just like a beacon. Like, it's already there. And the Stargate, you could build this thing to like, okay, here's the entry point, Dan, and here is the exit point. Maybe they're already there. Maybe these things are all over the place, and we just don't really know how to detect them. And then these ancient civilizations actually knew how to find them, or they were shown, or whatever. But that's pretty much the only scientific thing that you could think of that would teleport someone clear across the galaxy or whatever.
And it's weird because whenever I think of wormholes in that, I just always think in my head of going through them with a ship. But I was like, I guess if one was a doorway that you just open the door, like, why not? If we knew how to harness that. Like, why would you need a ship? I never thought of it like that.
Right. Now here, let's just take a quick picture. This is the ziggurat of today after it's been kind of rebuilt. It's a pretty dope looking temple.
That is badass, man.
Right?
When did they build that?
Well, it's from ancient Samaria, and then they've kind of redone the facade and stuff. That's what Saddam Hussein was doing, rebuilding it in early '90s or whatever. And so they've rebuilt it a little bit. Like, at Chicken Pizza, they kind of rebuilt the one side to make it look like it would have. That's pretty much what they've done there. But like, these temples are fucking.
When did they think they made the first one?
I think these are from ancient Samaria. I don't know the dates.
So this completed. They think this probably started in about 2050 BC, and then they finished it probably about 2030, 1980 BC. So this is a big window in there.
Yeah, it's big. It's a big project.
It's a big ass building to make back then, out of stone.
It's a lot of steps, man. Like, why would you want to walk up all those steps?
Yeah, that's.
I'd have a Stargate at the bottom and the top, straight up.
Yeah. Okay, now that we're getting onto portals, why aren't we getting extreme with it? You know why, Byron? The stairs were for us, buddy.
The plebs.
That's what it was for. Yeah.
Okay. So
walk up.
Now we've got the Iraqi one out of the way. It may or may not have been the reason for some military conflict. We don't really know. But that's not the only one people claim. One of the most famous ones in the world is called the Gate of the Gods, and it's from a place in Hayu Marca, Peru. And it's just...
Can you pull up the picture?
I sure can. Here, where is it?
I haven't seen this one.
Is this a giant? It's carved into a gigantic boulder, so it's like a gigantic carving into.
Is the black hole right in the middle?
And there's the black hole. And if you look closely, you can see a little circle there. See that?
Like a beam was hitting it or some shit.
No, there's ancient stories of like monks or like, don't call them monks, I don't think, but like whatever, like the religious leaders of the time carried the key to the gate. And there was like an ancient story, like an ancient myth that one time when the
No, Dan.
Dan wants
I
it.
am the keymaster. Where is the gatekeeper?
You give Dan 2 beers.
You give Dan a
He's
couple
just like
beers
the
and
rest
it's
of us.
fucking
He
done.
can't talk.
4 beers. You give Dan 4 beers, he can't speak. But the story is that when the Spanish came and they're like invading this place, the priest at the time had the key, and the myth is that in order for him to keep the key secret, he disappeared into this portal with the key and never returned. And that's the myth.
Oh.
Whoa.
That's the myth. So that's one of the stargates of the world, and it's been carved. So this leads me to more down the theory that maybe these are just points in space and time that people found, and like someone carved this into there. Like they knew where it was. So that's one of them. It's pretty badass. Gigantic. I think this thing was like 20 feet tall or something like that. Carved into solid rock.
And where's that one?
It's in Peru.
Oh, that's fucking cool. See, Peru's another place with all those kind of fucking got those weird ass runways, and the Nazca lines are down there.
Dude, Peru is the cool. I'm going to Machu Picchu. I'm doing the trail. I'm going next probably April.
Oh,
Cool.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, what the hell?
Nope. Just there's only 2 people on this trip. Not invited.
Fine.
Wait, you and Dan?
But if you
We'll
book,
go to
hey,
the Sumerian ziggurat.
if you
and
book
you
at the
won't
same
get to come.
if you book at the same time, I can't say anything.
Nope. No, we're going to southern Iraq, and we're gonna check out that place.
Oh, what a coincidence. Look who's here.
Yep, we're going. We're
Andrew's
taking
Andrew's giving me the head
And
They
we're
might
shake.
gonna
But
go with Andrew.
They might not let me come home.
so that's one of them. Another place is not. We'll go back to Egypt, and man, I can't pronounce this. Abu Ghraib, Dan.
Abu Ghraib.
Abu Ghraib.
No,
And it's
I
one
probably
of.
butchered it too, but
It's claimed to be one of the oldest sites on the planet.
Pull it up. I want to see it.
All right. Let me get it here. This is one of the sites of. So it's just like a site in Egypt. It's been pretty much destroyed, but it's full of like. It's full
Weird
of
things like that.
weird things like that, just like weird weird megalithic stone carvings, pretty much. And they say that this one kind of reminds me more of the chicken pizza, where it's more of a platform.
I was reading where the Stargates don't necessarily have to be vertical in order to work.
Probably not.
So, although, and like you were saying earlier, Braden, that they destroyed them all and pushed them all over, originally and traditionally, SG1, they are up vertical and you walk through them like a door. But like these platforms.
oh, that's not Abu Ghraib. It's Abu Ghraib. Sorry, Byron.
Abu Ghraib. Abu
Abu
Ghraib.
Ghraib. That's someplace else.
Yeah, so like they still work, and so they may resemble platforms now, but they still are working. Whether you, I guess, almost like a Star Trek, where you vaporize onto it standing upright, or they shoot you up and you hopefully land on your feet.
You fucking dive in that thing like a pool.
That's it.
Well, technically, the Star Trek teleporters work by making a copy of you and setting it,
And then,
and then deleting the copy.
So the control delete that second copy of yourself
Right.
So
Nope.
a part of you gets murdered every time you do it.
every
Pretty
time.
much. It's like, well, I don't want to. No, I'm not gonna talk about that movie.
Oh yeah, I know what movie.
Uh,
It's a good movie. No spoilers.
uh.
No. What's another one, Zell? I like seeing these.
I thought there was one underneath the Sphinx. Is that wrong? Is that
Sphinx.
I didn't
The
find that
Sphinx.
as a Stargate, but they claim that under like the left paw of the Sphinx, there's actually a room, and the Egyptian government has banned any exploration underneath the Sphinx
those motherfuckers?
because it would throw off the entire Egyptian history if the Sphinx was actually turned out to be built, which is pretty much scientifically proven that it's well before the pyramids. But they don't want anyone to know what's underneath because I guess there's probably maybe there's a star. Maybe that's the whole thing. Egypt's in control of the Stargate as well. It's underneath. But they got more in Egypt, so like I don't know.
Well, obviously none of these places are using these fucking Stargates because they're really not prospering all that well lately.
Well, maybe they're the bet. It's like the long bet, right? Where these things were open and these civilizations that are around there and hold on to these legends, like let's say Egypt, say like even though their history, maybe they do know it's a Stargate and they're hoping they'll be the ones to have first contact when they come again.
Right.
Just by holding on to the site, right? And it's like if we can be first contact, the stuff they did for the people that first contacted last time, we just don't know when it's going to happen. So we're like, we got to hold on to the Stargate. For the long game.
For the long game, yeah. They're waiting for the Anunnaki return. 1,000 years.
Pretty much sounds like every religion ever, just playing the fucking long game.
Playing the
something to work out.
The faith long game.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work out for anyone, but everyone keeps playing.
And what is it? Every 3,600 years. So let's say how long the story would get skewed in that long. That amount of time. It's been
one giant fucking telephone game about Stargates.
Yeah. That's where this all comes from, is Stargates.
I thought it all came from a TV show or a movie made in 1994, but
a great movie made in 1994.
I had read some articles that said like that movie was funded with black budget money, and it was put out so that people wouldn't believe in Stargates because now it's too like I saw that on a sci-fi. That's not.
Let's
tell everybody about something they may not know. Well, yeah. Exactly.
They actually brought on an Egyptologist to get their hieroglyphic writing correct on that movie, which I thought
hopefully wasn't the same guy we listened to in fucking Alien Con, because that guy sucked.
Romano? No, it was not
Rami, whatever.
Rami Romano. Everybody.
Now, what else we got, Zell?
Okay, we got more. So this one is in Bolivia, at a place called Tiwanaku, like Puma Pumka, and like they have this.
Yeah.
This is the place where they have like the most amazing megalithic stonework. It's in like top 3 in the world. They have like those interlocking dovetail blocks, look like they're laser cut, and then in the middle of nowhere they have a Stargate, and it looks like this. It's just a giant archway called Gate of the Sun.
And there's nothing else around?
Well, there's other ruins around, but this is like the one thing that's really stood the test of time.
Yeah.
It's called Gate of the Sun?
Gate of the Sun.
Whoa.
Or otherwise, the sun is a star, so Stargate.
Stargate! Oh! Shit! Boom! Mind blowing.
Unbelievable.
That's why they call me Maester.
Wait for it.
Cue it!
Maester Daniel, the learner of knowledge, the keeper of secrets, protector of truth, Maester Daniel!
There it is.
Whatever. Byron's like, what's happened since I left?
I haven't been here in a while. This place has got weird. There's cameras.
I'm going on a walkabout again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that would be wild doing something like that around one of these areas.
Walkabout.
Like, look at that fucking gate. That's unbelievable. What else?
Even the detail along across the top of it, like, there's a lot of work going into it.
Oh yeah, this is the stonework here is not. It's like this. The stones are like perfectly smooth and stuff in this place. Like it's like almost look like they were cast, like poured concrete or melted stone.
Yeah, like form.
Like a lot of people say, a lot of theorists go like some of these ancient megalithic sites sometimes makes more sense for them to actually have, if they have the energy to make stargates and move 1,500 ton things, like 1,500 ton stones, I bet you they would have the energy to actually melt stone in place and like form it. I wouldn't be surprised, but kind of hard to prove that. But yeah. That's Tiwanaku, Gate of the Sun. What
Stargate.
Else? So this one, I couldn't really find a good picture of this one, but it's like it's called the Ranmasu Yuana Stargate, and it's in Sri Lanka. So just on the southern side of India there, that little island.
Yeah.
Wait, what? What did you say? What island?
Oh, Sri Lanka, like just south of.
Sri Lanka. Okay.
South India. So this is it. And I guess some people say, so it's more about like, so if you look, there's like this is the diagram that's etched into the stone, and in front of this stone is 4 seats, like 4 seats made for a man. And the ancient cultures say that the monks would go there and they would chant their incantations, and they would, it says, be transformed. So some people take that as they were transformed and like teleported, or some people say it was just a spiritual transformation. But regardless, they say that this shape, which is etched into the stone in this temple in Sri Lanka, is actually like a map of sacred sites around the world. And this is like this actually is reminiscent of the globe if you were to flatten it out. And all these sites, someone did it where like a lot of these sites match up with like Machu Picchu.
It's like a fucking transit map.
It's a
right. That's a transit map. All those are the Stargates.
Next stop.
That's
punch in where you want to go, presser, and
so that's what some people say. And India is full of crazy shit. We'll do one time on like the what are those ancient texts? They call it
the Mahabharata.
Well, that's one of them, but the whole collection, and they talk about the Vimanas, like the flying craft, and like the ancient wars and all that stuff. And that's where
Mahabharata is one of them, and then the other one is Mahabharata is like the big one though.
Yeah, that's the one.
They have that's get the Vimanas and stuff in it.
Is that the one? Okay, so anyways, whatever that is, but that's also the one where they found like when Oppenheimer said like I've become death, destroyer of worlds. He was
Samhita.
He was quoting that, like, so they saying like nuclear power.
Oh, Samhita, yeah.
Like,
it's Samhita.
Right. So he says that in modern times he was the first to create the power, but he's referring to this ancient Indian text that all this technology has already been created and lost in ancient times. So India is full of crazy shit like that.
Well, and just looking back at that picture you said and the 4 people sitting, it's weird that a lot of these places have such like a connection to like acoustic sounds and stuff. Right? Like when Weird Chicken eats all the weird acoustic stuff there. And it's interesting that I wonder if these things had some sort of worked on some sort of vibrational frequency that you could get to.
Well, that's one of the theories, that they operate off the vibrations of the actual Earth itself. And like that's where they get some of its power from. Well, like, and it goes back to that theory that it's like the original spot was there, and then they've built the gates at that area because that's those acoustics. Like it's perfect environment for it.
Yeah, that's where that's what they call like the ley lines, like the power grid of the Earth. Like I don't know, you get deep into like the Earth is actually just a sacred geometric shape, and all the points of all the intersecting points create like a vast energy field. And some people are attuned to it, or you can train yourself to become attuned to these energy points. And then a lot of these ancient temples are said to be built upon these points to become Stargates, obviously.
So all these Stargates must have been shut down around the same time. Like somebody must have made the decision to say, okay, these humans are blowing it. We got to shut these down, because at least one of these cultures would be a fucking modern day Wakanda. You know what I mean? If it would have existed and worked for a while, you know what I mean? Like there would be that one civilization that's so massively, far ahead and walking around going Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. But no, okay, so that theory, so if you go with this theory that there's actually, say a lot of these places are older than because we sometimes claim these places are only 6,000 or 8,000 years old, because that's what organic material we found, either a moss or something buried by it, like that's what they date it. But when you start going, if you were to go with the theory that there was actually a cataclysm, we go with the younger, like call it the Younger Dryas impact, right? There was that fragmented comet that they're more and more certain actually hit the ice caps about 12,000 years ago, causing massive, rapid climate change, huge rising of ocean levels, like throwing off the entire world's weather pretty much overnight. And pretty much we talked about like if something like that was to happen to us today, our society would collapse and the hunter-gatherers of the Amazon would continue on as normal, right?
So what if the Younger Dryas impact was actually the Anunnaki's way of trying to wipe out the human race?
Just drop a nuke?
And then then they would try to like, okay, well, we're going to nuke this place from orbit, and we're also, just to be sure, we're going to nuke our Stargate, our main Stargate.
So just to get rid of, like, all right, this planet's done. We're moving on.
Yeah, we've got all the gold we need, or these people have become, this race has become too unruly for us, and they were just like, beep, we could just get out of here.
Get the fuck out.
Reset button.
We ain't dead yet, motherfuckers.
Nope.
But now they can't get back.
I like that theory.
Destroyed.
And we can't figure out how these goddamn Stargates worked.
Or maybe Saddam Hussein did figure it out how it works. So.
ET's still trying to phone home.
I like that theory. I like that theory a lot, actually.
It's always weird that these. I always go back to these places and they're like, and their connection with Orion's belt, like the Great Pyramids and even like stuff in Chichen Itza. I wonder if it has something to do with those three stars. Well, it has to be, is my guess. Either that's another point of connection, I think.
Right.
Oh, I'm just thinking. I'm really stoned.
Hey, that's what it's for, man. It's for thinking a lot. Why not, man? At this point.
But then, because I don't know, even when I would like go outside, anytime I go outside, my eyes are just always drawn to Orion's belt. I don't know about you guys. That's what I look for first. Second, big difference.
What's the most? Yes, it's a very noticeable constellation because it's
and
one.
I'm like,
it's one of the ones.
Is that it? It was noticeable for them back then too. So they're like, no.
Well, I mean, you have to.
Making a pyramid.
The Sumerians were were definitely and from evidence we know that they were an astronomically advanced culture. They knew of at least, well, according to Zecharia Sitchin, they knew of all the planets. They knew of all 10 planets in our solar system, or 9 if you don't count Pluto. And that but from other sources, you also know that they only knew about 5 of those planets. But they were great observers of the heavens, and most of the astronomical things that we know today, most of the astronomical knowledge that we have, even from them throughout the ages, was based on things from Sumerian texts and their astrology and their astronomy. Like they had those kinds of things. But then you also have to kind of think, like, put yourself in the shoes of a person who lived back in ancient Samaria. It's like, you really don't have anything to do at night. Like, you don't have anything to do. Like, what else, except to look at the sky. And it's
that's some bullshit. I'm sure they had tons to do.
You see it every night, You don't have TV. You don't have, books. You definitely don't have books. You don't have anything else to do. So you would just look at the sky. Plus, there would be no light pollution. So that would be pretty much probably the best form of entertainment, is just to look at the sky, catch a shooting star or two, probably, make up your stories about your constellations and things like that. So it wouldn't be unusual for them to base their whole architecture.
This is all out of boredom?
Yeah, maybe.
That's Dan's theory.
Hey, I've done some pretty weird things out of boredom.
It's true.
Everyone
has. But
the worst part is I can put myself right in that picture right now, where I'm just laying there and being like, look at that one. If you look closely, I see a bear, and you're like, you don't fucking see a bear. And then you're like, look at those ones, you see it, and you're like, all right, kind of, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but what if
exactly how it go?
So if there's no light, there's no light pollution.
Sitting for an evening with Mr. Conspiracy.
Brian, do you remember us looking at the stars one night?
Yeah, you guys were doing the same shit.
Exactly. Oh.
The thing about if you're looking at the stars with no light pollution, I feel it'd be way harder to pick out a constellation because there's 100 or 1,000 times more stars up there. Wouldn't it?
But you have those big main bright ones. Yeah, the ones that stand out.
Most cultures base their astronomy and stuff around the like the stars that you would see constantly. Like the sky doesn't stay the same, when you're looking at it. Like some stars move, some stars don't, but they would move more than other stars. So you'd have like planets that obviously move in different places. So you'd see places like Mars, you'd see Jupiter, you'd see those planets move in different places. You'd be like, oh, that one's not in the same place that I saw it from last time. It's over there this time, So you kind of would have to be able to put those somewhere, I suppose. Like you would base your stuff around that. Like you'd be like, oh, maybe that one. It's hard for me to put myself in the shoes of a person like back then, but you'd be like, but for them, they attributed these different moving celestial bodies to gods. They'd be like, this one is, Marduk, and this one is Enlil or Enki. So, all the bad shit happens on this day, and I saw that star this night. So obviously all the bad shit was caused by that star. Fuck that star.
Hey, so could be.
Hey, when I was a little kid, this is a little off track, but in that same logic, I remember getting up early when I was a little kid, and then do you guys remember that shitty Super Mario TV show?
Yeah. That started off when they're real people.
Yeah,
live action.
I loved that cartoon.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I loved it, but I never could figure out when it was on because I couldn't tell time. And this is you brought up this weird underage, I was probably 4 years old. By talking about this, you brought up this memory, and I remember sitting in the morning just after watching Mario, and I went up by my bed, and I was looking at the sun coming through the window at the stair rails, and I went, "This is how I'll remember. When the sun hits here, and the stairwell things are positioned like this, I know Mario's on." And it was never on ever again the same. I couldn't figure it out. But that was in my brain looking at the sun and being like, that's probably how I can tell. I can tell this is when Mario's on if they're right there. I remember having that thought and then being never watching Mario again.
Drew a line on the carpet on the stairs. What's that for, Brad? So I know what time Mario's on.
No, I wasn't even that smart. I just went, I'll just look. I should be able to gauge the distance by eye. My 4-year-old eye sharp.
That show was unreal. Remember when they used to have the Zelda episodes?
Did you not hear it? I watched one. I never fucking could figure out the
never
time.
got there every time.
You gotta rub it in.
It could have been the Zelda one. I don't know.
You gotta rub it in.
A little bit.
But that it was weird. I brought back a super weird childhood memory for me.
So, one of the questions that I'm watching the stream here is do the gates line up in certain constellations, and does that it work? This is from I Take Jello Shots. Basically, I mean, the Stargate movie kind of had it right, where it's you pretty much need 7 points in any 3-dimensional space. You need about 7 points to kind of get it right to where you're going to go. So you're looking at a cube, you need one of all those, you need all 6 points within that 3-dimensional space, but you also need an origin point. So I mean, if I were to build a Stargate, it would be something that you could set, either it's a dial or some sort of interface where you would kind of do it like that. If you just aligned it with one constellation, that doesn't really that doesn't really work, because constellations still do move. A lot of the stuff you have the whole field of archaeoastronomy, which is basically people taking projections of how the constellations and how things lined up for thousands of years, because they do move. The night sky does move, and it lines up at different positions at different times. So if you were to if you lined up some sort of Stargate with a constellation, unless you were only planning to use it for a short time, then it would work. But then after a couple thousand years or 100 years, it might move, so it might shift. So then you'd be teleporting into the middle of a star or something. So that's how I assume it would kind of work.
Cool.
I don't know. I've never used one. So.
I've been trying. I'm trying to figure one out here. Last week I've been trying to build one.
In the TV show, you only needed it was 3 things. I don't know. It was 3 points, and they just moved the little dial around, and one sent you to Atlantis, and one sent you to Antarctica, and there were little wormy things that they put inside you and turned you into a god or whatever. I don't know. Fuck that TV show.
Gould.
Which they never talked about in the movie, so I don't know where that came from. Movie is good. Reboot that movie.
Do it. I'm down for Stargate reboot.
I'd watch it. And
Fuck
put
yeah.
Kurt Russell in it again.
As the main character again.
Kurt Russell.
Yes.
Okay, let's go next. Let's go something else. Next one. Now, the city of Abydos in Egypt is one of the craziest places on the planet, and they claim that what do they call it? Fuck, I lost it. What do they call those the city with the giant blocks? The Osirian? Here, let's see if it comes up here. Here's Abydos, Egypt.
Syria?
Yeah. So
Syria?
No, it's called Osirian temple. It's one of the major temples, and in this temple is where you find this. You've seen us in Ancient Aliens for sure. This is a hieroglyph that shows what looks
A spaceship.
Like a helicopter,
A fucking helicopter.
a boat, and a spaceship or some type of craft. 3 of them right there, and it's
One's a helicopter, one's a tank.
Nah, it's a yacht.
like
Oh,
this,
shit.
right?
Hey, there's Mothra.
You got Mothra over here.
Kaijus.
Yeah.
You got some type of
Fishing lure.
fishing lure, and then you got a helicopter,
That's
and
a-
then you got a fucking craft,
boat.
and this is a fucking UFO right here, 100%.
That's weird.
You
This
got
is fucking crazy.
I'm
you got
convinced.
the planet. You got the Planet Express ship right there.
I gotta look at them in different
And
angles to
then
make sure I'm not seeing
Mothra.
a weird like.
Definitely Mothra.
Right.
There.
So Godzilla, King of the Monsters, 100% fact.
Yeah, man. It's because that idea that's where we get ideas for these movies and stuff. It's happening somewhere else.
It's
and
happened
you're just
before.
feeling it. That's where these
The first
ideas are coming
kaiju
from.
war was waged.
So you're seeing it
8,000
right
years
there.
ago.
Someone else was writing it. Nothing's original, man. Everyone has access to these thoughts, man.
Right? But the movie got it wrong. Mothra is not. And King of the Monsters was in South America. I can't remember, but it was like South America is where Mothra's from. But here, it's Egypt.
Okay, and now on the same city, it is a crazy city because it was lost. It was lost to history. And then in the early 20th century, a lady named Dorothy Eady claimed she was a reincarnation of a Egyptian peasant. And she pretty much led the expedition and told them where to dig and where to find this fucking temple. And sure enough, this temple with the biggest megalithic blocks in Egypt was just unearthed under the desert. And there's a Stargate in there, 100%.
What?
This girl fucking...
I seen it.
It's a reincarnation. She found this thing. No one knew where it was. It's like that. It's like Troy. It's like it was never here. And then guys like, I found it. And you're like,
How
holy
is
fuck.
that not the fucking case file? That's fucking crazy.
Hey,
Like,
It's crazy.
so she said she knew about it.
She claimed to be the reincarnation of like an Egyptian person from way back 4,500 years ago. And she led the investigation from what I could read that.
So she claimed that before. This is what I need to know. Did she claim that before or after she found it?
Before. She led them straight there.
She led them. Here it is.
Okay, but I just wanted to make sure this isn't one of those things where she led them and then people are like, how'd you find it? She's like, well, I'm a reincarnation Egyptian person and I knew about it. I want this lady to be like, I am this. And everyone's like, you're crazy. She's like, I'll show you. So that's what I wanted to go.
That's what happened.
Okay, perfect.
That's what happened.
she must have like really, really convinced these fucking people. Like, how the hell did she sell anybody credible to come fucking with her to go look for this shit?
No, she took these texts and she, with no training, as it goes the story, transcribed the text. She knew where everything was.
She had no training.
She said, well, whatever. Like, you can't just get training on a dead language from nowhere. Can you? Can you just go home and pick up this? Just go on the internet right now and learn how to speak Sumerian?
In 2009, they published a
Translate?
Sumerian lexicon, and like you can kind of pick up it and read Sumerian if you really wanted to.
This wasn't 2009. This was like, what was the year? It doesn't say. It said early 20th century. Anyways, that goes.
really
That was a story, and this place is fucking bananas. Here's some of the blocks. Look at some of these things.
That's Minecraft.
Yeah. Look at these fucking blocks, man. 20, 50, 100-pound blocks just stacked up perfectly. Very reminiscent of other buildings in Peru and Egypt out of a time when like the stones locked together with like you can't even slip a piece of paper between them. And this thing was buried under the sand and flooded. And they still have to, they're always pumping it out because it's always flooding.
Yeah, right, man. That's just what those are right there. Those are ruins from version 1.0 of this simulation.
Of the sim?
Yeah, 100%. It was like everything was just blocks, just like Minecraft. Slowly updated that.
Hey.
To what it is now. That's my new theory. That's what I'm getting from this Stargate talk. Those are Minecraft blocks. Those are insane.
It does look like
They're
it.
big fucking
when you
Minecraft
first pulled it up,
blocks.
I was like, those don't even look real.
Hey, Stargates, man. They're around. They're everywhere. Look them up.
Is there any others? Is that the craziest one?
I think that's the craziest one, just because the backstory is pretty crazy. But some people,
That's fucking nuts.
some people,
Yeah, I'd love to watch some interviews with this girl.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know if there's.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think there's any audio interviews of her because it's before time of audio film.
Oh.
But some people claim that Göbekli Tepe could have been a Stargate, but they don't really know because they've only excavated like 2% of it. But there is giant megaliths. So maybe when you get to the bottom of all these, maybe Göbekli Tepe was the main Stargate because that's why they backfilled it.
Ooh, that would make sense.
Because if you haven't listened to our Göbekli Tepe case file, Göbekli Tepe is a place in Turkey where they mistakenly uncovered this stone circle. First it was one stone, and then uncovered it and ended up being a stone circle. Then they've uncovered like dozens and dozens of circles, and it was all purposely backfilled. They filled it in, whatever it was. They filled it in so it would be preserved through time. So some people claim that when they actually get to the bottom, it's going to take like 50 years to dig this fucking thing out. But when they finally get to the bottom, maybe Stargate. Maybe. We'll see. 50 years.
It's honestly, I'm like, we have no idea. So it's one of those ones for me where I'm like, and there's all that weird shit with the Egyptians and stuff. I'm like, listen, I have no answers for anything's possible.
No. So in case file 4500, we'll come back when Göbekli Tepe is uncovered, and we'll let you know.
Yeah. Göbekli Tepe unearthed. ATT case file
live from
4,000.
Mars.
Live from Mars.
Live from Mars with Braden, Zell, Dan, Andrew, and Byron's head in jars.
Yeah.
Simpsons predicted it.
Yep.
Yeah.
The last one I could find, and this is more of like a supernatural one because there's not really any megalithic structures, but I guess in Sedona, like a small town in Arizona, like the Native American tribes, they claim that this area is home to like these vortices that can lead you out of mind and body, like a Stargate. But there's nothing actually built, so this is more of a spiritual one. But if you go with the theory that maybe these Stargates are just they're energy points, and the actual gates being built are to harness them, but if they're not harnessed, this whole area is actually like affected. It's like one of those power grid points of the Earth. Nothing too crazy about it, but
Ranch or something.
Yeah, kind of something like that. Like just weird. This weird stuff happens here.
Maybe that's just what. Maybe that's how the original like people get here is these weird power points that pop up, right? It's like right now we're an in spot for something, for some other dimension or whatnot, but they move around with time.
Was there any was there anybody that witnessed the Phoenix Lights in Sedona? That might be crazy.
Probably. I'm gonna go with probably.
Then that's probably crazy.
That's probably crazy.
That'd be fucking nuts.
I don't know. I don't personally know anyone down in Arizona could tell me. If anyone's listening and you...
Is that where they happened? Is it in Sedona? Is that like...
Well, that's what I was asking.
It covered a huge region of Arizona. Yeah. So I'm sure, like, I don't know where Sedona is located exactly, but could...
Or maybe it's a weird thing where this thing like bends time, right? So you're people that were seeing the Phoenix Lights were seeing them and they were real, but they were seeing something that was happening in like another time of Earth, like an earlier path of like the original things coming down. But it's just these weird vortexes on Earth manipulate space and time like we don't know and can't fathom. That's my theory.
There's a theory. I don't know. Could be. So that's pretty much all. That's all the Stargates that. I mean, people claim the other ones are, like we talked about Stonehenge a little bit, but Stonehenge is, I mean, it's standing stones in a circle, like fuck, could be. I don't know.
That's the least impressive one of the ones that you showed me. And
Stonehenge.
I'm not saying it's not impressive.
The least
I'm just
impressive.
saying, like, the least impressive.
It looks the most barbaric.
You heard it here. Braden says Stonehenge sucks.
Yeah, my review of Stonehenge. Boo.
Boo.
Wasted afternoon, if you ask me.
It's not bad for an afternoon's work.
I'd love to. What else? Should we... anyone else got some final thoughts on Stargates? We kind of went everywhere with it.
Let's all do a quick summary. Braden, what's your summary? Stargates real, fake, maybe?
Dude.
I'm gonna say some more pen.
Real maybe.
Real maybe.
Real maybe here. There's just a lot of these things line up when we're talking about it, and like these things, all these places on Earth of these power lines. And I've been to one. I've been to Chichen Itza, and when you're there, you're looking around and you're like, this looks like some of these things. You're like, this looks like a landing pad. That's what we thought. But now I'm like, this could easily be like an opening where someone would come through. So I'm like, it kind of lines up with everything we're talking about. And if we're going like deep theory, I'm like, hell yeah, I believe that shit. That's awesome. I love it.
So cool.
It's cool. I like the idea that we rebelled and broke the gate and closed the doorway. I fucking like that movie.
Yeah, I could go ahead. I'm pretty much on the same page. Like as we talk about ancient astronaut theory, and like these cultures are way more advanced than if you go with a linear timeline of humanity, it should some of these things shouldn't exist back in the day. If like they didn't have the tools that we know of, they had like copper chisels and like they didn't really have the stuff to build the stuff, and some of it looks machined, right? So if there was this advanced building going on, maybe it was done by an advanced species of alien, pretty much, who came here and they helped us out. Like started our culture, taught us how to build. Started with these giant stones, and after whatever happened, they left, or we rebelled and they left, or whatever. We couldn't build like that anymore, and you slowly watched human architecture go smaller stones, the brick size, like human brick size. And now that way of building and Stargate technology, lost, unless you believe the theory that we recovered it in Iraq. I don't know. I'm on board. I love aliens. I love the theory of wormhole travel, like across space and time in an instant. Be fucking cool. See. Keep an eye on it. Maybe someone will start one.
Do we want to head to the middle here?
I would love for them to be real.
Yeah, he does.
It'd be so much easier just to get around.
Yeah, just teleport around. It'd be so much better.
It does make, like you said, they all line up. We just don't or no longer have the technology to start them up. And it may require someone to come back to Earth with the extra missing piece to get them going, or the energy source to power them up, or it is here. But I don't know, man. It'd be bloody sweet if we did have that, because it'd save a lot of time with all these bloody ships we've got to build to try and get to places.
Yeah, just teleport, man. Just fucking teleport.
All these stairs we got to walk.
Fucking
bloody
stairs.
planes we got to take. No, it'd be sick. It'd be good. Oh, I don't know. I want to see it happen.
Let's get one started. You heard it from Byron. He's going to be the first to start one up.
Byron hates stairs.
Byron hates stairs. Therefore, we need
Get Stargates.
Stargates.
We
Bro,
need
Stargates.
Keep going.
Dan, what do you think?
Maester Daniel.
4 stars. Kurt Russell, James Spader. Fantastic. Great movie. CG doesn't hold up. Score does.
Score's great.
Does.
Score is great.
Musical score. David Arnold, great composer.
Great
I
movie.
recommend it. Ready for
There
a
you
reboot.
Reboot. You hear it. Dan will write it.
I'm on it. I'm gonna call Kurt Russell tomorrow.
Just write a script and pitch it, man. Who knows? You never know. Andrew, what do you think on Stargate? Or Stargates?
For my closing comments.
Oh, you went Alien. Wait, you got an Alien. You got an
Andrew,
Alien.
stop.
Stop.
We don't even want to hear what you got to say. You're crafting so bad.
Wait, try again. Try again. Say something.
Yo.
You're back.
there you
All right,
go.
there you go.
Now we want to hear.
Now we want to hear it.
Oh. I got nothing now.
There it is. But you know what?
Andrew
you don't-
said.
If you don't
Let's zoom in
with
on
that
him.
kind of attitude, we're gonna take that bed. You're sleeping right on the floor from now on. We're taking that frame. That's
Frame.
what's coming from you next.
You get a yoga mat. That's it.
That's it. Looks like you're living in a prison cell.
It feels like I'm living in a prison cell. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, let's wrap this one up. Let's get into some space news.
Space now.
What do I have first here? This is riveting stuff. Mice that spent a month in space were able to reproduce once they got back to Earth.
Good to know.
Okay.
I
So it doesn't
pulled that
affect
one up because what I originally had read in my head before I read it again out loud was mice that spend months in space were able to produce in space. That's what my brain just read when I went, oh, that's cool. And now re-looking at it, I'm like, oh, that's not it at all.
But it is cool because if we do go there and come back, we'll still be able to reproduce, which means if we just go there...
Has no female astronaut come back and given birth?
I find it hard to believe, but I don't know.
I guess, well, I'm getting, if like that's a thing where they're excited about, this is September 27th. If that's something they're excited about, they're like, mice can do it. Like, is there a concern that women can't once they go?
I think the major concern is like all of the types of radiation that you get exposed to up there.
Right.
Whereas instead of like on the planet where the atmosphere and magnetosphere of the Earth protects us from a lot of the radiation that is floating around in space, which is a lot. Being out in space for extended periods of times, I think they would worry if people would have trouble reproducing if they were either in space or going to space for extended periods of time and then coming back. So if mice can do it, people can do it too. Is that right?
I think so.
Exactly, yeah. So you're still good to do it.
Yeah.
And the whole astronaut thing, I don't know whether
Having
funding
babies in
someone to
space.
go there to do it.
Now, can you get pregnant in space?
0G sex.
You think
Everybody wants to see it.
That's going to be the line of the future.
You know what? That'd be a lot of effort.
Baby, everyone knows you can't get pregnant in space. We don't need that. You can't get pregnant in space.
Huh.
I got Dr. Jim Green has warned that the two rovers from NASA and the European Space Agency could find evidence of life within months of arriving on Mars in March 2021. He said that life is going to be found and that the world is not prepared for the new line of thinking they're going to have to adopt.
Sweet.
Interesting. I was like, I kind of forgot about those rovers. So they're going up and they're going to be taking like soil samples from like 6 feet down. And then they have a data research center somewhere in there that's automated. And they'll go and they're able to detect biological
particles
and stuff. So interesting. That'd
That's
be,
cool.
I would love to find life, even simple life in my lifetime. That'd be unbelievable.
It's happening.
That's pretty much what I had for space.
I had one space news. Musk vows to accelerate Starship development. So the Starship that's going to take humans to Mars. Within 1 to 2 months, he's taken it on a 65,000-foot test flight, about 20 kilometers, he claims. And then a couple months after that, he's going to try and do a suborbital flight. And this is going to be the Starship that's going to be attached to the Falcon Heavy.
That's the big old steel one he's building, right?
The big steel craft.
Big old Planet Express looking one.
Yeah,
looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to it's going to be attached to the Falcon Heavy booster, and that baby's going to Mars. And he's really people are a little bit mad at him though, saying he's putting a little bit too much resources into this project when electric cars and other stuff might be more beneficial to the planet. But the rocket is badass, so stand by, see what happens.
If that can re-enter intact, that's sick.
Well, it's being built to go to Mars. I don't think is it coming back. Is it a one-way trip? Isn't it the first trip? I'm pretty sure.
Of course, the first trip is because they're all gonna die on Mars. Not to be bleak, but I don't want to be the first person on
If you've signed up to go to Mars, you've signed up. You know what you're doing. You're not coming back.
You're in space.
I think everyone can agree upon that first. No one's coming back from that first one. It's going to be a hard learning curve for the first little bit.
I wonder when they get there, are they going to elect like a president and then you'd be like the first president of Mars? That'd be pretty fucking cool.
That'd be the best.
Here's I got to pull up a picture. That's the fucking spacecraft.
There it is.
Look at that baby.
Yeah.
Look at that baby.
Planet Express.
Planet
Our
Express
crew is expendable.
right.
Your package is not.
That's awesome.
That's a cool looking fucking spacecraft.
He was saying, yeah, the spacecraft is really impressive. He's also, I believe he tweeted out a couple things about his praises for the materials they're using, steel, as opposed to like the carbon fiber composites and all that stuff, because he was saying how much cheaper steel was, and all of its kind of thermo thermo distribution or something properties, and it's just going to be like, yeah, he's like, it's really great. It's a hell of a lot cheaper than those composites they used to make the space shuttles before.
Cool.
Fucking awesome.
That's all I had for space news. That's it. That's all I had.
Well, why don't we queue up Mongoose Files? What do you got for us, Andrew?
Wait.
Well, I'm fucking scared to talk.
There we go.
Okay, well,
heavy theme song.
if my mic fucks up, you can't take away my yoga mat. I'll have nowhere to sleep.
All right,
Listen, we already took your desk and your mic stand. All right.
Yeah.
You just keep pushing us. See what fucking happens. Okay.
You'll be sleeping on the cold hard floor.
Yeah.
Got nothing left. Okay, so the other day, a friend of mine was called to a rather routine motor vehicle accident. Gets on scene, and there is a car in the middle of the highway that's been like ran into from one side of traffic, the other side of traffic stopped, and everybody's out of their cars yelling and screaming. We get there, pop out. Okay, what's going on? What's going on? They're like, this car just randomly came into the middle of traffic, and while everything was moving. And I'm like, okay, like, is everybody okay? Where's the driver of this car? They're like, there is no driver of this car.
What?
Yeah. So I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, so obviously the person must have been hit and run, crashed their car in the middle of the traffic, took off.
Right.
So we're talking to people, doing an assessment, call the fire department. Okay, let's get this car going out. And as we're doing an assessment on these people, totally casual, whatever, nobody's really that hurt, somebody screams from like down the road, coming from like a business, you know what I mean? Like right kind of just above the road. And kind of like look over and being like, oh, that's kind of weird, right? Like looked at my partner, I'm like, I'm going to go check out, you know what I mean, what the hell happened over there? Because it's like a blood-curdling scream, right? And I'm like, you feel comfortable here? We called another ambulance because there's a few other patients just in case anybody needs to go. So I start trekking up kind of this, it was this kind of like just a little bit of an incline, you know what I mean, leading to the street. So I trek up it, go, and it's right outside a hair salon. And there's a group of people standing in the parking lot, kind of like surrounded. And you could kind of see somebody's legs sitting on the fucking sidewalk. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird, right? So I come up and I'm like, hey, is everybody okay? And this lady turns around and like grabs me by my shirt, and she's bawling and screaming. And I'm like, whoa, calm down. And I kind of like go to look at the body on the ground. And there's this lady lying on the ground with a smushed head.
A smushed head?
Like an absolutely
like a watermelon
smushed head, like smushed, like pancake head, right?
Oh.
And you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, like there's no brain exposed that I can tell. It's pretty bloody. So I go down there, I go check the carotid. Okay, it's a carotid pulse. This person's alive. Go down, try to find an airway, try to see where they're breathing from. Find their mouth, start bagging their mouth. Try to clear the airway, teeth start pulling out. I accidentally pulled the roof of their mouth out of their face. I didn't mean to, but I had to get the airway open. Anyways, we took the smushed lady to the hospital. It's pretty gruesome. Get them there. They're alive for now. And while we're kind of giving a handoff report to the hospital, kind of explaining to them you know what I mean? We don't really have any fucking idea what happened to this lady. She's just laying on the sidewalk with a smushed head. Somebody comes up and says, hey, I'm here for the lady that had a smushed head, basically. I have footage from our security cameras on what happened.
Your friend is embellishing that part. He never said, I'm here for the lady with the smushed head.
Well, no, she said we're here with the lady. Anyways.
Yeah.
But the lady had a smushed head, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, a little did I know that the fucking car in the middle of the fucking highway and this lady was the same situation. she shows us the fucking security camera, and this lady, I guess, forgot her wallet when she was getting her hair done, walked out to her car, started her car, went to go fucking back into the salon, realized she forgot her wallet again, came back out through the passenger seat, reached over to grab her wallet, hit her car into gear, car started rolling backwards, she fell out and it ran over her head.
Oh my
And then
God.
onto the road.
And then rolled into the road.
Slowly
Down the
rolled
hill.
onto the road.
Oh.
Holy fuck.
Oh, dude, it's so
Jeez.
gruesome, man. Like, honestly, like a melon. Like, would you picture like somebody
Like a
running
watermelon.
over a watermelon?
Yep.
That's exactly what it looked like.
So did your friend save this lady?
I think they survived in ICU for about 3 days.
They that long with a smushed head?
Yeah, I think they
Oh.
went. You know what? Those organs went to people who needed them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, it's a
just
pretty
don't-
shitty outcome, obviously, for her and the family. But you know, at least there was
Some people got
benefit for
saved in
some
the
people.
end.
But yeah,
Oh, shit.
super weird. Absolutely no idea what the fuck was going on. Like, okay, there's a random car in the middle of the highway here. There's nobody. Like, obviously, you think somebody just like hit and run, took off.
Did a runner. Yeah.
Yeah, super weird.
Okay. That's enough of that story.
Oh.
Fuck, smushed head. Whew. That's
all right, let's go over to some good news. Dan, why don't you pitch out the theorite of the week?
I was supposed to pitch out the theory of the week.
I don't know. Someone's supposed
When
to.
did we discuss this?
I told you before.
I thought
I asked you.
You picked the theorite.
Someone picked the theorite of the week.
Sorry, our theory of the
Guy
week
with the
is
pictures.
Chris Delfield, who sent us a couple videos and a picture of some UFOs that he caught on video. I should take a look at.
And let us let us know if we can use your videos and maybe we'll post them and show everyone.
Yeah, now that we have the technology to actually live put out videos from the computer, you know, I guess we can, even if they don't say we can use it, we just can't give their name. We'll just use it. I don't know.
Well, we used his name, so now you got to give us permission. Let us know.
I don't have it. I don't have it
Next
up right
time,
now.
Next time.
I don't have it up right now anyway. So next, if you have a video, send it in either to any social media or alientheorist@gmail.com, and we will play it on the show.
Zell, you got any reviews pulled up?
I have some reviews. Let's go with this one. This is the newest review. Awesome podcast by Deli Meat from USA. just Deli Meat.
Deli meat.
I love this podcast. It's just a group of guys talking about the unexplained events on Earth. I have a bunch of friends, but they would never talk to me about this topic or about the topics you guys talk about. Keep up the good work. Always come unprepared. And could you guys do me a favor? Tell the flat Earth people that gullible is not in the dictionary. If they don't believe me, look it up. Ooh, shots fired.
Zing.
I like it.
Zing. Another review, Ron Pondcast. We should change the name to Ron Pondcast. From Custodian Tim. Thanks, Custodian Tim. New here. Took me about 1.5 months to catch up to the newest ones. I love this podcast. Oh, I love this Pondcast. My bad. Very funny and entertaining. Makes my 8-hour shift feels like a breeze and gives me laughs all night. I constantly listen to the Pondcast and everything about it. 42069.
69.
Should I do one more? We'll do one more. Why not? The truth is most deaf out there. You guys are the best. Simple, straightforward, and funny as hell. I listen to your cast on night shift. Makes the nights better. The ambulance driver, the medic on your crew has some great friend stories I can relate to. Keep up the great work. My favorite podcast. Cheers from Casey Cooper, fellow Canadian. Cheers.
Appreciate it, Casey, but we're not, you don't call firefighters fire truck drivers or policemen, police car drivers.
The ambulance driver.
It's wrong.
The ambulance driver.
One
They're
star.
brave bunch
Andrew
of
can't
special
take a
bunches.
compliment.
Police car drivers.
Next.
Brave fire truck drivers.
That's the next 1-star review.
This, guys are mean to him on the reviews. He's like, what can I do to change? Please. One guy says nice thing about him. He's like, hey, I just don't want to get technical here.
That's the way she goes, boys.
Away she goes.
There she goes.
You want to do our new Patreons?
Yeah. I'm opening the tab. It's still spinning. I'm on that 2G network.
Okay, well, I'll start on the newest one. If you jump in if it loads by the time you get there.
Yeah.
Trevor Nofsinger, Cody Dixon, Stuart Barclay, Natalia Caddy, George Vasquez, Owen Devney, yeah, I don't know, Cadman Peterson, Joe Larios Aka Aliams. Did pretty good on that one. Sheldon Coates, James Spray, Luis Zaragoza, Lucy Helbor, Mandy Shope, Joe Romero, and I think it's all the new ones.
Yeah, it's still just coming up.
Okay, well, it's all good.
All right.
We got it. We read. Are we going to do a UFO case of the week, or
what?
Are we doing UFO case of the week?
Yeah, let's save it for next week.
Okay, we're going a little bit long on this one. So.
Look at this before we go, look at this sweater.
Let's get a zoom in on that. Is that a fried egg sweater?
Bacon on it, but there's some bacon on it. It's and it was called, well, I've been calling it I Believe in Breakfast.
Oh,
it's fucking awesome.
Came with this little sticker.
I thought you're intermittent faster. I thought you don't eat breakfast anymore.
Well, no, but look how fucking hilarious that shirt is.
Wait, if you're an intermittent
Built on
fasting,
lies.
that means you don't eat breakfast?
Well, you do. It's just a different time usually.
I break my fast in the afternoon.
Yeah,
Your
you have
sweater's built on lies.
Yeah.
You
So am I.
just eat
So what's the difference? Anything else before we go? Oh!
I got some too. What do you got?
Are you going to talk about a new merch store?
No, I wasn't. Go for it.
We got tons of new merch out on Alien Theorists Theorizing Live. I think that's where you can get to it. Zell's going to post a link.
I'm gonna show you what it looks like right here. This is our site. I don't even know. I don't think you can see it. You won't see the live stream on my chat. It doesn't work on my computer because I'm hosting it.
Yeah, but go to the merch.
Down here, go down to the merch.
Woo!
You can get yourselves a nice stitched hat, a t-shirt.
There's more if you hit the merch section.
Let's see.
Yeah.
How do I work
There's
this thing?
more merch than that. I just spent
Visit
hours.
Visit store. Here we go.
Way more stuff out there.
Oh, we got.
Look at those.
nasty.
Oh shit! You got.
Jacket.
Look at the bomber.
Oh, you put out a limited run of the original ATT OG Alien Head and the original OG El Nasty tops.
Oh yeah, I
Those
did.
those have not been around for a long time. So if you want one, what do we got? 9 days left on them, and they're not going to be up for a while.
There's one down below as well, but I'm gonna pull that one the same day as the others.
Dude, we got ladies crop tops.
Crop tops.
Oh man, you loaded up here. Keep those eyes in the skies hat. That's a dope hat. I might buy that.
I like it.
We don't get our own. We don't get free merch on our own. We got to buy our own merch from ourselves.
Some too.
Got some beanies.
We got beanies, toques, and an ATT winter hat. What the difference is up to you.
Beanies Aussie.
I believe in socks. A single sticker.
Just one sticker is all you can get.
Tons of stuff now, man. It's awesome.
That's pretty good. You know what? That's better than our last store, and it's the same price, and our profits. You support the show. Oh shit! I just turned off the recording. Hang on.
Unbelievable.
Fucking dummy. That's what happens.
Oh, I need no nasty.
All right, we're back recording. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out.
That's what you get when you watch the live show.
You get live stream. You get live behind the scenes, baby.
Get to see how the sausage is made.
And the other thing is, I only wanted to say at the end here is
wait.
we run an ad.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna end the show there. Don't end the show.
Oh, it wasn't.
Say your spiel.
I was gonna say we run an ad-free show, so if you want to support us, you can support us by going on Patreon, giving us a donation there. We have tons of dedicated content for Patreon only. Us playing Dungeons and Dragons, us talking about case files that you don't hear on a regular feed. If that's not something you want to do, just go buy a shirt, go buy a hat, man. All that stuff helps your boys do what they like to do.
And if that doesn't do it for you, if you can't, if that's you're tight on coin, a quick share, like, a retweet, or anything on social media, or a 5-star review. Boom, that's all we need. Helps us out. Every little share is helping the show. All right, last thing I want to talk about before you end the show, Braden. Zell's music of the week. If you have a band or this week, actually, we're going hip hop. I don't discriminate on genre. Good music's good music. So if you got music that you make yourself, it's all original. Okay, I'm not doing any covers or stuff that's been done. Either tweet us, Instagram, Facebook, or email us, alientheorists@gmail.com. Send me your band's links, and say verbally or written that I can use your song because YouTube gives me a strike every time I put it up there. So as long as
say it verbally as well, just for
send me an audio recording. Oh, you know what? We something we were gonna do that we keep forgetting is we have a phone number.
Oh shit! I totally forgot about that. We've talked about this like so many times, and we have a phone number, and we're gonna start taking voicemails. And we'll play the voicemails
and play our favorite ones live. So the phone number is.
Hang on, let me get my phone out.
Byron's gonna call. Shit. What is it here? The phone number is 213-261-4254. That's
leave
that's
us
a Skype
voicemail.
number. It's
Fill
actually
that message box, baby.
I think it's an LA phone number. Actually, it's an American phone number. So if you're in the States, it's not long distance. Anywhere else, it'll be a little bit long distance. But leave a message, and we will. It's gonna be funny. Do your best or do your worst, whatever comes out.
Yeah, maybe that'll be Patreon only content. We'll see how ruthless you guys are.
Yeah, we'll see. See what happens. All right, so this week I got hip hop ending it. It's a good Patreon supporter of ours, Reggie Right Hook. His name is on SoundCloud. You can find him, Reggie Right Hook Perry. The song's called Safety's Off, and if you're a fan of hip hop bands like Jedi Mind Tricks or the like, you'll probably like this tune.
And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes on the skies.
Peace.
Safety's off, hammers cocked, firing off the first shot. Got the infrared dot to make sure that they fucking top pop. They think they're hot, but they not. We got them digging out the grade plot. My graph is about to drop. We want that real hip hop. Safety's off, hammers cocked, firing off the first shot. Got the infrared dot to make sure that they fucking top pop. They think they're hot, but they not. We got them digging out the grade plot. My graph is about to drop. We want that real hip hop. When you bitches gon' run, you ain't getting no turns. Not even with a spot at the top. Yo, you're never gonna earn your chance to go toe to toe. Cause you know that I'ma burn your ass the first bull that I throw, and then I'll piss in your urns. You just food for the worms. You belong in the dirt, trying to reap all the benefits, not put in no work. Go ahead, talk your shit, son. You get what it worth. And yo, I've been there, I've done that, I wore that shirt. Right hook, you're a jerk. Nah, straight to the facts. This game, you rappers, not actors. So step the fuck back with your whackers from the platform. You keep it intact while you're jacking others' past, expecting us not to react. Like, what the fuck's with that? You think this is a joke? If hip hop were a bicycle, son, you'd be the stick in the smoke. Another broke ass record, a clone of a clone, a white flag painted checkered. You finished, you go to fuck home. Safety's off, hammers cocked, firing off the first shot. Got the infrared dot to make sure that they fucking top pop. They think they're hot, but they're not. We got them digging out the grade plot. My graph is about to drop. We want that real hip hop. Safety's off, hammers cocked, firing off the first shot. Got the infrared dot to make sure that they fucking top pop. They think they're hot, but they're not. We got them digging out the grade plot. My graph is about to drop. We want that real hip hop. Safety's off, hammers cocked, firing off the first shot. Got the infrared dot to make sure that they fucking top pop. They think they're hot, but they're not. We got them digging out the grade plot. My graph is about to drop. We want that real hip hop. Safety's off, hammers cocked, firing off the first shot. Got the infrared dot to make sure that they fucking top pop. They think they're hot, but they're not. We got them digging out the grade plot. My graph is about to drop. We want that real hip hop.